Hello. Today I want to talk specifically to my fellow people pleasers out there. Um, I want to talk about yes and the ways that I think we people pleasers tend to be kind of detrimental to ourselves in the way that we interpret that. So, yes, and as you know, if you are an improviser or if you've been to a workshop, is one of the first things that you learn in an improv class. It's this idea that when information is offered into a scene, that you agree with it and then add something. So you say yes, and then you build something on top of that. I think it's easy for people pleasers, especially, to kind of internalize this idea of yes and as meaning that it's always our job to bend over backwards to accommodate other people, to please other people. And I don't think that that's really what it's about. So I kind of wanted to take some time to just unpack this idea of yes and. So the reason why we have that rule in improv is to make sure that everybody on a team is remembering that they're not the only person on a team and making sure that information that's been offered isn't overlooked or ignored or contradicted. Usually, when those things happen, it's because improvisers are in their head and they're not listening very well. So when you're in an improv scene, agreeing with information that's been offered is a way of saying, I heard you, I heard what you said. And then adding something on top of it is collaborating, right? That's how we build something together. So off stage, I believe that living a yes and life, as I aim to do, absolutely necessitates that we say no thanks sometimes. What I want to invite is this idea that there are more ways to say yes and than just filling our plate with more and more stuff that we don't really have time for or the passion for in that moment or whatever the case may be, or acknowledging here's the other thing, acknowledging when your boundaries have been violated. That happens on stage and off stage. So yes and absolutely includes the ability to say, no, what just happened doesn't sit with me, or no, I can't do this right now. So here's this idea. Yes and could look like, do I know someone that I could connect this person to? Is there a resource that I could connect this person to? Yes and can simply look like acknowledging the truth of something that has happened and then adding your truth, adding your information on top of that. So I think that that's very important to remember. So if this idea of yes and exists because everyone on an improv team is worthy, all of our ideas are equally valuable, there's not any star of an improv team, that includes you. That means that you are equally valuable. And if you're not able to do something, if your plate is full, it's not your job to say yes if you can't. The other thing, too, that I like to say, you've probably heard me say if you've been in a workshop, is this idea that you do what you can do joyfully and you trust the ensemble to fill in the rest. So boundaries are so important. They're important for giving everyone the opportunity to learn. They're important for giving everybody the opportunity to shine. But they're also really important for letting people know that you trust them, right? Not doing everything yourself because you feel like that's the only way to get it done is a great way to let your teammates know, I trust you. You're my teammate for a reason. The other thing that I want to make sure to talk about is this idea that sometimes your boundaries can get crossed on stage or off stage. And I think that especially for new improvisers, I know I really struggled with this early on. It can feel blurry, like where are the lines, what's okay, what's not okay. And you kind of feel like, well, especially when it's mostly guys on your team or something, well, I just want to be one of the guys, I don't want to be the poo-pooer of creativity or funniness. But I think that it's okay to acknowledge, scratch that. I know that it's okay to acknowledge when your boundaries have been violated. And yes, and can look like, here's why what happened didn't sit with me. Here's why what happened isn't okay. Boom, you've acknowledged that something happened and you've added your piece of information. You've laid the foundation for something healthier to be built in the future. That's the way that everyone gets to learn, right? That's the way that we can make sure that we stay collaborative and allow our information to be heard. I don't think that yes and means that we have to be a doormat. So that's my piece of improv advice for today. This idea that yes and can absolutely be paired with no thanks, and that doesn't mean that it's bad improv. On the contrary, I actually think that that means that we're doing a great job of improvising and respecting our own boundaries, which is so important. So I hope that that's helpful, and please feel free to reach out or comment if you have any questions or feedback, and I hope to talk with you soon. Bye.